Brittney Griner was in a Russian prison. You would think somebody who is now free, back in America, on home soil, would not have. Brittney Griner made news the other day because...
Imagine the loudest voice in sports looking straight into the camera and saying,
"It doesn't matter what sport you pick. That's how fans act in every arena,
We tried the quiet route. Now it's time to make noise." That's not a hot take. That's a warning. And if you believe the whispers, that warning was aimed directly at the WNBA. The allegation? Behind the scenes, powerful people wanted Stephen A. Smith to step lightly around one name, Brittney Griner. Not an editorial nudge. Pressure. To soften. To steer clear. To keep it positive. Why? What conversation is so radioactive that the league would rather risk a backlash than let it breathe on its own? Tonight, we're pulling the curtain back on a story about power, access, and the cost of telling the truth in women's basketball.
Extremely aggressive behavior. Braidwood, Caitlin Clark, the rookie from last year, the one that has everybody's focus in the WNBA.
If Stephen A. is right, and if even part of these claims are true, this doesn't just change a headline. It challenges the credibility of an entire league. Buckle up. This isn't gossip. This is a stress test of free speech versus brand protection.
Respectfully, Brittney Griner was in a Russian prison.
And the next move could decide the future of the WNBA's image for years. Stephen A. Smith. Love him or hate him, he moves culture. When he talks, fans debate, players react, executives listen. He's the one personality who can praise your league at 10 a.m. and make you rethink your strategy by lunch. That megaphone is exactly why this story matters.
Was that a fair trade for the Merchant of Death? I know you kill it on the court, but he kills it in real life.
Because the allegation isn't that random accounts tried to quiet him. It's that league-adjacent voices and industry relationships didn't want him digging into anything messy tied to Brittney Griner. And let's be clear about Brittney. She's more than a star. She's a symbol, a champion, and an Olympian. A headline that stretched far beyond sports. Her return to the WNBA, after being detained abroad, was a global story. With that level of attention comes responsibility, scrutiny, and yes, politics. The league has every reason to protect its players. But here's the line. Protection can't become prevention. Not when it comes to honest conversation. Stephen A. has always walked a tightrope. Advocate for women's hoops, and hold it to the same standard he holds the NBA, NFL, and everyone else. That's real respect, equal criticism, not kid gloves. So when he even hints that people tried to guide his coverage around Griner, it lands differently. It's not a blogger.
Is it true you had to have sex with Vladimir Putin to get released from Russia, Britt?
Get out of the way, dog.
Britt.
Get out of the way.
Britt, is it true you had to...
Get out of the way.
It's not a burner account. It's the guy who can shape a national conversation by lunchtime. If your product is strong, you welcome tough questions. If your culture is secure, you don't fear big microphones. That's the friction point here. Was this normal PR massaging, or an effort to chill a topic before it could ignite? Here's what's alleged. Not a brown envelope, not a blatant bribe, but pressure. Invitations sweetened with access. Phone calls that sound supportive but land like a gentle muzzle. Let's keep it on the court. Focus on the positives. Now's not the time. The message between the lines? Back off the Griner conversation. To be crystal clear, none of this is proven, but the pattern being described will sound familiar to anyone who's worked around pro sports, where broadcast deals, media access, and relationships can become quiet levers. If someone like Stephen A. says those levers were pulled, even lightly.
And this incident has of course gone viral online, but also sparked other skeletons in Brittney's closet that she probably wants to stay.
That's a lighthouse. Because if the loudest voice felt it, imagine what the quieter voices feel every day. This is how soft power works. Carrots. Exclusive interviews. Pre-game access. Star sit-downs. Production support. Sticks. Fewer invites. Colder relationships. Delayed callbacks. We'll circle back. Nobody has to say, don't talk about that. They just make it easier to talk about something else. That's how controversial topics become later topics. Until later never comes.
America, Brittney? Well, get off me.
Stop. Stop.
I'm weird. Why? She hates America. What about the Merchant of Death, Britt? Get off me.
Stop, dude.
Get off.
And when the name is Brittney Griner, the stakes multiply. She's central to league storytelling, resilience, visibility, global reach. When your star is a symbol, PR instincts go into overdrive. That's understandable. But it's also exactly when independent coverage must be protected the most. So what does Stephen A. do? He leans in. He doesn't drop wild accusations. He does what he always does. He frames the principle. He says the quiet part out loud, that quiet roots were tried, and he's done tiptoeing. He questions the tone policing, the selective outrage, the sense that certain conversations are off limits because they're inconvenient to marketing goals or fragile narratives. He doesn't have to name names for the message to land. I'm not here to be managed. And that's the point. He's drawing a red line in prime time. A reminder that commentary is not a department of the league office.
Who they let out to get her back?
The
or
Merchant
American
of
Soul.
Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens, according to the reports.
Don't underestimate the risk. ESPN carries WNBA games. The NBA backs the W.
That's who they let out. For her. You would think that you would be smiling, you would be ecstatic, you would be happy.
Everyone is connected. When you speak freely inside a web of business relationships, you are daring the web to hold. Stephen A. is betting that viewers want truth-first coverage, even when it cuts against a feel-good storyline. He's betting that honest conversation about the league's biggest star is good for the sport, not harmful to it. Because here's the paradox. Protecting a brand by suppressing difficult topics hurts the brand more than confronting them. Fans can smell spin. They respect clarity.
And something like this wouldn't faze you at all. The fact that it does is disturbing. I'll leave it in every sport. She described the fan. Yeah. It doesn't matter what sport you are.
Even when the truth is messy. Online, the debate is split. On one side says, leave Brittney alone. She's done more for the game than most. This is piling on. The other side says, you can't ask for equal coverage and then ask for special rules. If you're the face of the league, the conversation includes you. Warts and all. Both sides agree on one thing. What Stephen A. says moves the conversation. That's why any attempt to shepherd him away from a topic, if it happened, was always going to backfire. It creates that forbidden fruit effect. Now everyone wants to know what wasn't supposed to be said. Let's talk money. The WNBA is growing. New eyeballs, new sponsors, real momentum. With that comes the corporate instinct. Keep it clean, keep headlines celebratory, keep tough stories small, and keep the product glossy. But great leagues aren't glossy. They're trustworthy. The NFL didn't become the NFL by hiding every mess. It became the NFL by surviving every mess while fans felt informed, not infantilized.
A few weeks ago, you fouled out of an Indiana Fever game. Cameras caught you saying something on the bench. It's hard to tell what you said. Can you tell us what you said?
I remember fouling out, being mad. I remember fouling out on, I believe it was Howard driving to the basket. They said I put my hand in. But hey, never really had to officiate, so.
But what did you say?
I really can't remember what I said, honestly.
If I showed you the video, would that help?
No, it wouldn't help.
It wouldn't help.
Sponsors don't actually need perfection. They need predictability and trust. That when crises happen, the league deals with them like adults. Suppression breeds suspicion. Transparency builds staying power. Path A, transparency wins. The league quietly recalibrates. Fewer gatekeepers, more access, tougher questions allowed. Brittney speaks when she wants, how she wants, no staging. The conversation gets healthier, and the product grows because it trusts its audience. Path B, back-channel battle, subtle freeze-outs, selective booking, not this week, answers. No official statement, just a slow squeeze. That path never works long. It births bigger stories than the ones it was trying to bury. Path C, the flashpoint. Something new happens.
To talk about it. Because I know folks said we tried the quiet route. Now it's about bringing noise and putting a spotlight and putting attention.
An on-court incident, a heated quote, a viral clip, and Stephen A. unloads. Names, dates, details. If that happens, the story jumps from sports pages to mainstream front pages, and everyone loses control of the narrative. This isn't only about Brittney, Stephen A., or a single league. It's about how we cover women's sports in a moment of explosive growth. Do we tell the whole story, with all its complexity, conflict, and consequence? Or do we smooth out the edges until it's marketing, not journalism? Real equality isn't just equal praise, it's equal pressure, equal accountability, equal space for hard conversations. If you love the game, you don't shrink it to fit a press release. You let it breathe and trust it to withstand real heat. Watch for tone shifts in interviews with league execs. Listen for stars saying they're comfortable answering any question. Track whether major shows book Brittney with no guardrails, not to harass her, but to let her own voice cut through the fog. And most of all, watch Stephen A. Does he double down, move on, or draw blood? His next monologue will tell you everything you need to know. If you want honest coverage, the wins, the missteps, and the real conversations the game deserves, subscribe, hit the bell, drop a comment. Is this fair pressure or a step too far? Should leagues guide the conversation or get out of the way and let it happen? Your take matters here, because the next time Stephen A. says, "We tried the quiet route," you already know what comes next. Noise. And when it hits, we'll be right here to break it down. No filters, no favors, no fear.